Hi, I'm Dave, welcome to the channel. So, here it is, and here is my review of the long-awaited Carrera track cleaning truck. So as we took this truck out of the box on the previous video, there's no need to do that again. So we'll go straight to the turntable and look at this. It is a beautiful thing. The paint on it is perfect. There's no marks, there's no blemishes, there's no dirt in it. There's no orange peel, there's no dry areas. It's brilliant. That checker plate look on it, again, flawless. As you can see, we've got this big plastic chunk with two flags in it on the back that's attached to the standard spec lift for the standard wrecker. This is effectively a standard wrecker with just an additional section to clip in the back. You'll see on the side it says "Wir kommen uns jeden Dreck." Apologies to my German friends if I didn't say that right. That basically means, as far as I can tell, we clean up all the dirt. So beyond that, obviously it's 6 wheels. Only the 2 rear wheels are driven. It's got this cute little number plate on it which says "Clean 1" in English, which doesn't make a lot of sense for an Austrian truck where everything else is written in. I'm presuming that's Austrian rather than German actually. So this little attachment on the back has got a massive magnet in it. More about the magnets later, but you'll see there's 4 screws in that, which means you can unscrew it and you can take the magnet out, which we will be doing at some point because we're going to have to. Looking inside there, you can see a few little nice details. It's got a fire extinguisher. It's got a nice shiny fuel can, and then a little control panel for the spec lift on the back as well, which I think is a nice touch. And other little details like rivets and things. The downside is it doesn't have any rear lights. It does have 2 little red patches where lights should be, but they are not there. So unusually, I'm going to look at the box on this one. Well, not really the box, but there's a sticker on the box that says this is a towing truck, but don't tow another car with it for more than 3 minutes. So this in itself is an admission that probably the motor's a bit gutless and not up to the job, and if you do anything much with it for more than 3 minutes, you're going to burn it out. We'll get back to that in a bit. Now, the packet that comes in the back of a Carrera car, all Carrera cars, has a few spares in it as usual. This one, quite uniquely, has some extra bits. Now, obviously, it comes with a couple of spare braids and 1 spare guide that's a replacement guide for the standard Carrera one. A lot of Carrera cars come with a red plastic guide which is slightly shallower, so you can swap it over and run the car on a Scalextric or some other track. If you want to do it with this one, you've either got to get a red guide out of another Carrera car, or you're going to have to sand that guide down a little bit because it will bottom out. Standard bits of instructions that come along with all of this. And uniquely, for any slot car, a little Swiffer cloth. Well, 2 little Swiffer cloths, because they give you a spare one. And they've got these 4 little cuts in them, and you sort of hang those on the pieces that... I'll show you, it's probably easier. So you detach the cleaning pad, I can't think of a better word for it, and there's a few little uprights, and you can sort of hook the cloth with those holes over those uprights and round the other side and hook them on again. It's quite a simple way of attaching it. It's a little bit fiddly, but it's not too bad. I think they've worked this out quite well. And then once they're on, you should just be able to clip that back into the spec lift part of the recovery truck or wrecker. Why do Americans call these things wreckers? It doesn't wreck, it kind of unwrecks. So there we are. Yeah, that's fitted back on. As you can see, it's quite nice. Good smooth surface there. Should be plenty capable of cleaning the track, especially with that magnet in it. Right, so let's power this up and I want to show you something very quickly. I'm going to make it pull away. Now, did you sort of hear that that was struggling a little bit? Try again. Did you hear right at the start of that kind of humming noise? That's the sound of a motor trying to turn but being prevented because it's being overloaded. With all three magnets in this truck, the motor is not up to the job of pulling it round. That is as fast as it would go. I kid you not. Do not run this car with all the magnets in it, because you will burn out the motor. So if you like the smell of burning electrics, you just carry on. But I've done a few laps here, and because the motor's getting hot, you might realise motors lose their gumption when they get hot, and that's as far as it got, and it stopped, and I didn't push it any further. Now let's just look at this for a minute. This truck is 150 grams. Now that is a heavyweight by slot car standards anyway. Then when you take into account the fact that it's got three magnets in it, because there's two standard Carrera ones inside the truck and a third one inside that back piece, it's no wonder that this motor, this poor little motor, is struggling, because there's 150 grams. Now this truck will happily sit upside down on a piece of track and support its own weight with all the magnets in, so that's probably at least another 200 grams of magnetic downforce. And then when you add on to that as well the drag of pulling that Swiffer cloth round the track, that poor motor is not going to survive more than a couple of minutes. I mean, it says don't tow for 3 minutes, but I mean, I wouldn't, in standard trim with all the magnets in, really, I wouldn't do more than a lap at best, because I'd be fearing for the motor and looking for the wisps of smoke. So obviously inside here, having pulled those rear wheels out, which is a funny old setup in itself, and done a lot of fiddling about, I've removed all three magnets. Now, I removed one magnet and tried it, I removed two magnets and tried it, and in the end I removed all three magnets and replaced the one in the cleaning pad section just with some weight. Now let's have a look here. Look at all of these magnets. Massive one for there. That's standard on most Carrera cars. So that came out. Didn't make a lot of difference. This one, obviously in the back section underneath the motor, which is standard on most Carrera cars, took that out, didn't make any difference. And this one lived in here. Now I've put a little bit of steel inside there just to weigh it down and replace what was there as a magnet. But that's a big old lump of magnets, and now I've taken them out, we can probably try this car again, because that drag on there will probably be enough with that little bit of weight. So we'll take it back to the track and we'll give it a go. And look, no magnets. I haven't trued the tyres. I've done nothing else other than take the magnets out of this car. It is so heavy, it doesn't need magnets. It's not coming off a track at any point. All those magnets are doing is slowing it down and wearing it out quicker than it needs to be worn out. So even dragging this cleaning pad round here, the motor's now not struggling at all. It'll do this for ages, no problem. And actually, it's quite enjoyable to drive for a kind of a novelty slot car. And with the magnets out, obviously you can get the tail out a little bit, which means you can sweep some of the shoulders on the corners as well as the main part of the track, which is actually more useful. Now I know some people are kind of scared of taking the magnets out of things. Honestly, on this one, it's better without a magnet, even if you're somebody who likes magnets in slot cars. So there we are, I did that. And now I'm going to hook up the cleaning pad so it's just a truck. And off we go again. And as you can see, without dragging the pad behind, it's got a lot more go. And again, it's a really fun thing to drive like this. And again, it still doesn't need the magnets. It's perfectly capable of staying in a slot and being quite fun to drive. And actually, I have to say this, it managed a 7.7 seconds like this. Now, this is testament to how terrible a slotted car is straight out of the box, because that slotted Mercedes from the other day only managed a 7.8 when I just took the magnets out and ran it around the track. Effectively the same test as this. So this shonky old Carrera truck is actually better out of the box than a slotted, which is obviously not ready to run. It's ready to take apart when you get it. So one last time, do not run this car with all the magnets in unless you like the smell of burning electrics. Please don't leave the magnets in and run it. I don't want you to spend £70 on a slot car that becomes junk in 3 minutes flat. The magnets are far too much for the motor. Please don't do it. Get it, take the magnets out. And in case you're wondering if the cleaning pad still works when you take the magnets out, yes it does. Look at that, it's done a really good job of cleaning the rails, and there's quite a lot of detritus along the back edge as well, because it has cleaned the track very, very nicely. That bit definitely works. So on that piece of advice, thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, you'll find a button specifically for that. If you subscribe to the channel, that really does help, and if you hit the bell, you'll get a notification the next time I post a video. And check out this slot car channel.